Wow. Just wow. My, oh my. The Meghan effect in Australia hasn't merely arrived. It has erupted, surged, and quite frankly, rewritten the entire conversation around celebrity influence, commerce, and cultural power in one sweeping, elegant motion. Take a breath and really let it sink in. Fashion-wise, Meghan is not just box office gold, she is the box office. The premiere and the sold-out encore all at once. What unfolds here is not passive admiration. It's immediate, measurable, almost electric conversion.
Let's talk about the actual positive impact that Meghan Markle has had on these brands, because it's really important that we do. This is having financial impact on our economy and also helping these brands build their profile internationally. Apparently, Google searches for Meghan Markle Australian fashion in Australia are up 2,800%.
Wow.
And I think we just need to contextualize in this sea of what is often, to your point, Ree, hate and ridicule, is someone who converts commercially very, very well. And we had another quote from Julia from Friends with Frank, on what is often dubbed the Meghan effect. We sold out of both styles that Meghan wore within 48 hours of her wearing them and have now put them on pre-order due to demand. We've also seen a clear uptick in website traffic with significantly higher international interest than usual, alongside strong engagement and buzz on social media. The Instagram post featuring Meghan in our pieces quickly became our highest performing social post to date.
Meghan also wore St. Agni, P. Johnson, Camilla and Mark, Karen G. An interesting tidbit from that is that a lot of the brands that she wore have now updated their SEO product descriptions to say that piece was worn by Meghan Markle. So when you're searching for it, it comes up in the short product overview that you see before you click into the item.
Go team, go.
Relentless ridicule, what stands out is something far more powerful. Undeniable commercial conversion. Strip away the chatter, the headlines, the opinions, and what remains is data. Cold, hard, irrefutable data. Someone who converts commercially extraordinarily well. That's not hype. That's performance. And then comes another voice, Julia from Friends with Frank, offering insight into what is so often dubbed the Meghan effect. Not a theory, not speculation, a lived reality. Everything Meghan wore sold out. Not slowly, not eventually. Within 48 hours. Entire styles vanished, only to reappear as pre-orders, chasing a demand that simply refused to be contained. Websites didn't just see traffic, they experienced a surge, a sharp and undeniable spike, particularly from international audiences. Eyes from across the globe locked in. Engagement soared. Social media ignited. And then came the Instagram moment. The post featuring Meghan didn't just perform well, it became the highest performing social post the brand had ever seen. Ever. That's not just visibility. That's transformation. Meghan also stepped out in designs from St. Agni, P. Johnson, Camilla and Mark, and Karen G. And here's a detail that reveals just how deeply this influence runs. Brands have now begun embedding her name directly into their SEO product descriptions. Quietly, strategically, almost reverently. Search for an item, and there it is. Worn by Meghan Sussex. Positioned right there before the click. Before the decision. Before the purchase. This is not just fashion. This is digital strategy evolving in real time. In other news, according to launch metrics data supplied to WWD, the tour generated a staggering $51.6 million in media impact value between April 14 and April 17. Just pause there. 4 days. And within that window, Australian fashion and jewelry brands emerged as major beneficiaries of this intense global attention. 16 Australian brands featured in the Duchess of Sussex's 2026 tour wardrobe. 16! Many scrambling behind the scenes to keep up with the surge in sales and pre-orders, not anticipating it, not fully prepared for it, reacting to it in real time. Her wardrobe alone became a moving marketplace. Among the names, Scanlan Theodore, Mateo, Bear Park, Paspally, and Rola's Jeans, each one touched, elevated, and amplified by a single appearance. The Sussex's Australia tour serves as a powerful reminder. The Sussex effect is not fading. It is not slowing. It is translating, consistently and emphatically, into real brand performance. When Meghan wears a brand, the data follows. And the data tells a story that is impossible to ignore. Take the now iconic Karen G moment. A custom-fitted navy double-bonded crepe Priscilla dress worn during the first engagement at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital. Elegant, composed, effortless, and within 48 hours, it generated $1.6 million in media impact value. The ready-to-wear version sold out in just 2 hours. 2 hours. And there's history here. Back in 2018, the same designer experienced a similar shock when Meghan stepped out in her design, an appearance that coincided with a pregnancy announcement and crashed the website entirely. Lightning striking twice? Not quite. This is something far more consistent than chance. Then comes April 16th. 2 engagements, 2 appearances, and Friends with Frank earns $575,000 in media impact value in just 48 hours. A camel Lou car coat, a khaki sleeveless Anya sack dress, both gone, completely sold out. Yet this time, there was preparation. Stock was ready, pre-orders were set, shipping pipelines reopened across the US and UK. And even then, there was uncertainty. Would it really take off? It did more than take off. It exploded. Over at Scanlan Theodore, the numbers tell their own story. Sales of 3 featured products surged by 250% week on week. The Athos shopper tote appeared not once, but twice. A carefully curated outfit worn at a luxury wellness retreat generated $247,000 in media impact value in just 48 hours. And then there's denim. Rola's Jeans saw $109,000 in media impact value after 3 of its designs were featured. The Midtown bootcut jean in Iris Wash, sales up 800% week on week. Other fits up 150%. Denim, elevated to global demand. The Meghan effect is not subtle. It's not gradual. It's not contained. It's next level. It's bolting forward with a force that feels almost uncontrollable. A surge that one voice described perfectly. It's really a hurricane. And while the noise continues, while critics, doubters, and detractors persist in their commentary, something far more powerful is happening beneath it all. The Duchess rises. Not quietly, not cautiously, but with measurable impact, undeniable influence, and a presence that turns moments into movements, outfits into economic surges, and appearances into global phenomena. This isn't just fashion. This is power, dressed impeccably and selling out in under 48 hours. And just when it seems as though the crescendo has reached its peak, another layer unfolds. Quieter in tone, perhaps, yet even more formidable in implication. Because what is truly being witnessed here is not merely a fleeting moment of popularity, nor a temporary surge driven by curiosity. This is sustained influence. It is continuity. It is the kind of resonance that lingers long after the photographs have been taken, the engagements concluded, and the tour itself formally wrapped. There is a rhythm to it, a pattern, a sequence of cause and effect that has become almost predictable in its unpredictability. The moment an appearance is confirmed, anticipation begins to build. Speculation swirls. What will be worn? Which designer will be spotlighted? Which emerging label might suddenly find itself catapulted into the global arena? And then, in an instant, the images arrive. Effortless, composed, seemingly understated yet meticulously considered. And within hours, sometimes minutes, the chain reaction begins. Browsers open, searches spike, carts fill, inventories deplete. It is a phenomenon that defies traditional marketing logic. No paid campaign, no orchestrated advertising blitz, no overt endorsements delivered through scripted messaging. Instead, a single appearance, authentic, organic, unforced, becomes more potent than entire seasons of strategic promotion. That is where the real astonishment lies. Influence that does not announce itself, yet commands attention at an unparalleled scale. And beneath that surface, there is something else at play. Something more nuanced, more layered, a deliberate alignment with brands that carry a certain identity, refined yet accessible, contemporary yet timeless, local yet globally resonant. These are not arbitrary choices. They form a narrative, a visual language that communicates values without uttering a single word. Consider the way these Australian labels, once primarily recognized within their own region, are now being introduced to a worldwide audience. Not through aggressive expansion, not through costly international campaigns, but through visibility that feels almost serendipitous. A coat worn during a walk, a dress chosen for an engagement, a tote carried with casual ease. Each piece becomes a vessel, transporting the brand beyond its original borders and into a new realm of recognition. And what follows is not just interest, it is trust. Because when audiences observe consistency, when they see a figure repeatedly choosing pieces that embody quality, craftsmanship, and understated elegance, they begin to associate those attributes with the brands themselves. The garments are no longer just items. They become extensions of a broader aesthetic, a lifestyle, a standard. This is where the transformation becomes profound. For the designers, it is not simply about selling out a collection. It is about repositioning. It is about stepping onto a stage that might have otherwise taken years, perhaps decades to reach. The exposure accelerates timelines, compresses growth trajectories, and opens doors that were once firmly closed. Yet with that acceleration comes pressure. Suddenly, the demand is no longer localized. Orders are arriving from multiple continents. Expectations shift. Production must scale. Logistics must adapt. Customer service must evolve to meet a new international clientele. And all of this happens almost overnight. There is a certain intensity to it, a whirlwind that requires agility, foresight, and resilience. And still, the momentum does not slow. Because beyond the numbers, beyond the media impact value, the percentages, the sellout timelines, there is an emotional dimension that cannot be quantified so easily. A sense of excitement that ripples through audiences. A feeling of participation, as though each purchase becomes part of a larger moment. People are not merely buying clothing. They are engaging with a narrative. They are aligning themselves with a moment that feels significant, current, and culturally relevant. And in that sense, the impact extends far beyond commerce. It shapes perception. It influences trends. It redefines what it means for a public figure to engage with fashion in a way that is both aspirational and attainable. There is also an element of relatability woven into it. Despite the global attention, despite the high-profile nature of the appearances, there is a consistency in presentation that feels grounded. The silhouettes are wearable. The palettes are thoughtful. The styling is polished without appearing unattainable. That balance is delicate, difficult to achieve. Yet here, it appears almost effortless. And that is precisely what makes it so compelling. Because when something feels effortless, it invites replication. It encourages audiences to imagine themselves within that aesthetic, to see those pieces not as distant, unattainable luxuries, but as achievable additions to their own wardrobes. And so, the cycle continues. Interest leads to exploration. Exploration leads to purchase. Purchase leads to advocacy. And advocacy feeds back into the ever-growing wave of attention. It becomes self-sustaining. At the same time, there is a broader conversation unfolding. One that touches on the evolving relationship between celebrity and commerce. Traditionally, endorsements have been transactional. A brand aligns with a figure, a campaign is launched, a message is delivered. The boundaries are clear, the intentions transparent. But this operates differently. There is an authenticity that cannot be easily replicated, a sense that the choices are personal rather than promotional. And that perception, whether intentional or not, amplifies the impact exponentially. Because audiences today are discerning. They recognize overt marketing. They respond differently to what feels genuine. And when something resonates as authentic, it carries a weight that no advertisement can match. This is where the distinction becomes critical. It is not simply about visibility, it is about credibility. And credibility, once established, becomes a powerful currency. It is what transforms a single appearance into a cascade of outcomes. It is what turns interest into action. It is what sustains the momentum long after the initial moment has passed. There was also a strategic brilliance in the timing of these appearances. Each engagement, each setting, each backdrop contributes to the overall narrative. A hospital visit conveys compassion. A university engagement highlights advocacy for education and youth. A wellness retreat aligns with themes of health and balance. And within each of these contexts, the fashion choices reinforce the message. Nothing feels out of place. Nothing feels excessive. Everything aligns. And that alignment enhances the overall impact because it creates coherence.
That's all for now, squatties. It's your get-to-go girlfriend, Annabelle Karis, and I'm so thankful you joined me today. Remember, stay bold and never dim your shine in this wild and wonderful world. Until next time, just so you know, as your fellow squatties, I love you all to the moon and back.